Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 6 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week I brought in 4,249 points, up 150 points from a week ago, and that also raises our best round score by that same 150 points as it was previously set just last week. That also makes, I think it's 4 new records over the last 5 weeks as we continue to improve our scoring across the 10 games. Current virtual best up to 4,671, also a new record in that area. And the all-time virtual best rising slightly to 6,733 points now. Breaking down the 10 games individually, PCM 19 career mode, 555 points now, just about to the end of the season. So we will see that rise in score come to a halt before too long, and almost certainly it's going to top out in the not so distant future. There's not that many points left to be had, so maybe 600, just spitballing, but we'll then be starting a new season, and it looks like I'm headed towards the World Tour, which means there is the potential for that score to rise significantly next season, as World Tour definitely offers more super prestige points than the other races do. But then again, our win record is probably not going to be as good, so first season, maybe not. Maybe we won't see an increase in scoreline. In the stage racer, we continue to navigate the season. There's a lot of season left to go. Actually, really not a ton of season left to... Well, hold on. Where are we? No. Sorry. We are still actually pretty early in the season. It's hard to keep track of the series and where we're at. We're actually still quite early in the season, and we already have a good score in comparison to where we were. So most likely we will shatter that record this season, but don't expect anything like our PCM 18 stage racer, the pro cyclist mode there, where we got the 983. We won't get to anything like that this season. We're not there yet, but definitely well beyond 500 headed for this season. In the Zero to Hero series, approaching the end of the season and still on a similar scoreline path. Part of that is because we moved up to a higher division, and that came with more points, but only slightly more points. But then we're playing in different tournaments, harder tournaments, and we didn't get as deep. We won a tournament and a league last season, so the scoreline isn't going to change significantly. It's going to take a few seasons before we get to the higher divisions where we can earn significantly more points and get deeper into tournaments, so on and so forth. Surviving the Aftermath, I have the asterisk there for round ended. That's not a certainty, at least not at this point in time. I'm waiting for the new update to release, which should be happening any day, any time, and then we will restart for an update 4 playthrough. So the update 3 playthrough will come to an end, and I'm assuming I've reached that end just because the update should be coming anytime. But if it doesn't come, I'll just continue on with the Update 3 Let's Play for a little bit longer. So we sit at 492 points, but again, I'm under the assumption that we'll move on to the Update 4 playthrough. But good finish, 492 points, not bad for a short playthrough, though there was certainly more to do. Obviously, by the score line, halfway there, but didn't take us terribly long to get there. Not that many episodes, so it's certainly not the hardest game. But of course, as the updates come, they add more depth, and it actually does make it harder. Like the next update is going to offer a total rework of the tech tree, making it almost twice as deep as it is currently, and that'll thus make it a lot longer to complete. Rebel Inc. did try Brutal again, so saw both a rise and drop in score at the same time. The drop was a little more than the rise, so we're at 630, 90 points short of our record. Did not succeed in the playthrough. Survived a bit longer, but the same issues are showing up again and again in Brutal, and I'm starting to understand what those issues are. And the sooner I can understand why the reputation drops so quick, the sooner I can correct that and then ultimately survive a playthrough on Brutal. That's the goal anyway, and that's what we're going to focus on for a little while. Transport Fever 2, no new achievements this week, but making progress. Definitely approaching the end of the current map playthrough, so we'll be moving on to a new map playthrough quite soon. So don't expect a lot more points, probably won't top 500, looking at maybe 3 more achievements, and then that's going to be a series, 20 points for each achievement. Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2020, into a new season. It's still pretty early days in that season. We're at 36 points, so we've got a long ways to go yet. The season hasn't gone quite as well as I'd hoped starting out, so we've struggled a little bit, but we're playing better. We're playing better now, so improvement is coming. Not quite sure where we're headed. The team is good, but not great, so trying to figure out how to get us over that hump and become a not just competitive team, but an elite team is obviously the goal, and we're still a ways off from that. PCM 18 career mode has come to an end. Final episode was this week. 442 points was the final. It was a big jump from where we were. We collected a ton of points by winning the World Championships in the team time trial category, which we're not a great team time trial team, but we brought the right guys and ran the race the right way, and while we could have squeezed maybe a top 5 or should have only just been in the top 5, we ended up winning it. For a change, team time trial I'm usually not that great at, ended up playing it perfectly. Went aggressive, went for it. It was a one and done, do what you can. And so we went all out and made it and ended up winning. So that actually ended up with a pretty good points haul. And at the end of the day, same division, but quick simming a lot more races this season. We had a better track record than the year before, but at the same time, more quick sims. So the AI handled more races that they lost that I probably should have won. And so there was a trade-off, and I thought we were going to end up below points, but I think largely because of that World Championship, it was just enough. We just surpassed the total from last season. So 3 points higher. It's not a big difference, 3 points, woo, but at least we did it. So, minor victory there. But the series is now coming to an end. I don't have an immediate replacement, so it'll stay on the list for a little while yet until I do have a replacement in place. I'll just keep 10 games on the list, but from now on, I'm no longer holding strictly to I must have 10 active games at all times. There's been times where I was up to 11 or 12, but I've never allowed myself to fall below 10. I'm finally doing that. I'll still keep 10 on the schedule here, but it'll just be the most recent retired games that fill that void, and not, like say PCM 18 Pro Cyclist. I won't just keep 983 points sitting up there. It'll just be the latest retirements. Speaking of latest retirements, there is another one. Retired a week ago, Automation Empire. That series finished up, 635 points, no longer active. So, again, I'm down to now 8 active with PCM 18 just finishing. So, finally, Football Manager 2020, our Swansea City series, getting close to the end of the season, 531 points, so new record, slightly. I mean, we had 2 more wins. So, as I approach the end of the season, I'm actually in contention for promotion to the Premier League. And if that happens, there's a small chance that maybe I'll just keep the series going. the only reason why I'm ready to end the series at the end of the season is because even on debut, there just was hardly any views, and it's not a number that's been picking up. So it's just been small viewership numbers, and therefore I don't feel like I should go on. But maybe I get promoted to Premier League. But honestly, the Zero to Hero series, even though it's much harder to record and go through and do just because the time involved, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying that series, and even though its numbers aren't great either, its numbers are certainly better than the standard series. So maybe we drop off the Swansea City series and keep the Youth Factory, the Zero to Hero series. I just keep FM20 going, and hopefully over time build back up a base so that when FM21 comes out, whether it's continuing championship or if we do get promoted and starting with a weaker Premier League side, it is what it is. I mean, I've ultimately been doing Football Manager since the start of the channel, with just a temporary break between the 19 and 20 series, and I think that's ultimately what hurt those numbers, was there was a break. I had continuously gone 18 into 19 and then had a break between 19 and 20, and that's what's hurt. So hopefully one of these days we'll get viewership back up. But Zero to Hero series, while doing good, isn't doing great. So it's going to be hard to attract new viewers to that game at this point in time, and maybe, just maybe, the natural growth of the channel and then the release of FM21 will work out better. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that I had picked Swansea City. I don't know. Maybe just the lack of popularity of the club could have been a contributing factor on why I didn't ultimately get the new game, new series on channel, popular game on channel bump, right? I don't know. I don't know. These things, YouTube algorithm works in mysterious ways sometimes. Naturally, as the channel gets bigger and bigger, my views do go up, but not every series takes off. In fact, for that matter, Surviving the Aftermath really didn't take off, but that was a little more understandable. It wasn't a brand new release. It's a game that's been out for a while, and even the third update had been out for about a week or two before I started the series, and so that wasn't hot off the presses. I'm hoping to get the update 4 hot off the press. I gotta keep a close eye on that one to see when it releases, and then we'll see if that provides any kind of boost. Otherwise, I think update 4 might be where I kind of stop playing Surviving the Aftermath, but it's a fun game, and unlike, say, Zero to Hero that I was just speaking of, Surviving the Aftermath is easy on the production side of it. Record straight through, stop recording, and post video. It saves me a lot of time. And if you have not picked up on this, first and only time that I'll speak of it for this review special, I'm still recovering. It's been ridiculous that I'm going on almost 2 months now since I first caught a flu bug. That the flu bug only lasted 5-6 days, but then I had the lingering cough, and then that lingering cough turned into pneumonia just over 2 weeks ago now, and I'm still recovering for that. But if you haven't noticed, I am certainly closer to recovery from that than I've been, but still not quite there, especially as days go on. I get later and later in the day, the cough gets more and more pronounced. It gets harder to keep up, and then I rest, recover, sleep overnight, wake up in the morning going, okay, yeah, I feel pretty decent, and then the day goes on, and that fades away. And if you couldn't guess by now, this happens to be my first recording of this day, this particular day, and I'm actually feeling the best I have felt. But I'm already, just over the course of this video, feeling a little more and more I use my voice, the more the cough becomes pronounced. Anyway, on the all-time virtual best side, quickly here, because I've gone on for a while now. Automation Empire now retired from the list, making 3 games on the active list. There was only 3 games on the active list. Newly up into 10th place, bumping Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2017 off the list for permanent because it's long since retired, is Surviving the Aftermath. And of course that score is probably going to stay put for a while, again, as we're heading towards update 4. So it cracks the top 10 list, does not crack 500, which has been my goal. So we're still going to have to keep an eye out for the ones on the outside looking in. And those are PCM 19, Stage Racer, drops from 11th to 12th with Surviving the Aftermath moving up. Also going from 15th to 16th because Surviving the Aftermath came all the way from 16th place to get into the top 10 is the PCM 18 Career Mode. And of course that is now going into retirement. So in a week, that's going to get bumped off the list, and another active game will take place on the top 3. It did improve its score, but it didn't improve its position, and actually, again, it lost a place because of Surviving the Aftermath. So finally, the new game on the list, and the reason why it's new, is that improvement of Surviving the Aftermath. With Surviving the Aftermath, which was on this bottom list, out of the way, Transport Fever 2 is the one that now moves up a spot. So it didn't change position. It was in a tie for 17th. It remains in a tie for 17th. It just becomes visible on the list. But at 400 points, it's Transport Fever 2. It, and I think for the first time, is involved not only in a tie, but a 3-way tie. The other 2 games that it is tied with, long since retired games, are F1 2019, The Last Question Mark Career, that finished at exactly 400 points, and Rebel Cops. Like Transport Fever 2, has a more simplistic scoring that goes by 10s and 20s. And so they both landed at 400. Alright, well, that's going to do it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in. This was certainly the longest one I've had over the last few weeks, as it's been hard to keep up with the channel. I also had far fewer videos posted this week. Not as few as last week, but definitely fewer than what my normal is. And I intend to go back to a normal schedule as of next week, but of course that normal schedule is not so normal anymore. If you didn't notice, again, I was talking about dropping to 8 games. Well, that changes what is normal for me. Starting to go a little more into a standard look to the channel, to what you would see with other channels. I have my staples. I have the key games that I play that will continue to be on the channel, that feature once or twice a week. PCM 19, Transport Fever 2, the Pro Basketball. Those games, appear once or twice a week on the same day, continuously. But instead of trying to do 10 of those and balance that out over 7 days, ultimately with about 14, 15 videos a week, I am now cutting that number down to 7 or 8 or 9 videos a week of staples, of consistent, here they are all the time. And then I will fill the rest with something new, something just coming out, where you get a longer series in a shorter period of time. Right now, that's Surviving the Aftermath. So that's going to appear almost daily for a while, and I'll start doing that on a more consistent basis. And then when the series is done, when I get to the end of it, it's just done. And so I don't necessarily need to keep 10 games going at a time. Alright, well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one.